And we're back. And you are absolutely incorrigible.
And why?
This is why.
It's the festive season.
What have you got now?
So we've got 2 wines for the second course, and just because life is more colorful, and we've got a white Kleinzalze Chardonnay wooded, so that definitely has a bit more depth to it, and we've also got a Pinot Noir. So Pinot Noir is really a red wine from a thin-skinned grape, and we are trying to defy the odds about the people who really talk about, oh yeah, you go white meat, white wine, red meat, red wine. So we're having a chicken dish, and we have got the option of a red wine, light red wine, and a wooded white wine. So let's see how that goes.
And a very young.
Very young, 2021 Chardonnay. You will find that most Chardonnays that are wooded, they won't use new barrels, because when you use new barrels, you get a stronger kind of flavor. Secondary aromas are stronger because a new barrel will impart more flavors. So older barrels are usually used, and that will make it a bit more depth, but not as a bigger, bolder kind of white wine that's with it. And with the Pinot Noir, it's from Elgin. Elgin is a cool climate, and with a cool climate, you definitely know you're talking altitude. And with altitude, you get your grapes having good acidity, and good acidity is always really good for wines. And this is wines in terms of aging. It's a 2018 vintage, so
it's 4 years old.
It's 4 years old, so I'm excited to find out what that's going to taste like, and I'm excited to find out what you are both going to think. Just these two. Those are the
do
two.
you guys have an opinion?
I think we've got lovely company, and they've done a very good job of explaining. I'm even excited for you guys.
And they're enjoying their syrup.
Chardonnay or Pinot Noir?
I'm going to try the Pinot Noir.
Okay. And Libby?
I will do the Pinot Noir as well.
Okay, I think so. We all go for the Pinot Noir.
So look how light it is.
It is.
You know, it's a thin-skinned grape, so.
Yeah.
Beautiful colors.
And you know what they say about Pinot Noir? They really liken it to a female. You know, it's a very feminine
What
grape.
you know what? I knew you were going to say that.
Oh my goodness! And how did you know that?
Your face just
So-
lit up.
So it's very feminine in that it's very difficult to handle in the vineyard and in the cellar. So you winemakers have got to be really careful, handle with care, be gentle with it, and you just have to take care of it. So
Also, it's thin-skinned.
it's very thin. I
Well, anyway, so we're gonna
Please
get it.
ignore what Rufara said about thin-skinned, not in his words, but yes, the grape is thin-skinned. That's why you'll never get a good extraction of color from it.
Well, look, I like it so far. And I must say, it's a pity we're not going to have the climate salts.
What do you mean we're not going to have it?
We are going to have it, but what are you trying to say?
Exactly.
It is Christmas, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I once had a dinner with a very successful foreign investor, and he's actually he used to run one of the first funds to go big in frontier markets like Zimbabwe, Zambia, that sort of thing. And he sat on the board of SAB Miller and some Fortune 500 company, and we had dinner with him, and he was in his 70s.
Wow.
And when we ordered wine, he says, look, I'm old, I don't need to impress anybody. Sometimes I can't make up my mind whether I want to have a white wine or a red wine with my dinner. So you know what I discovered? I can order both.
Oh, fantastic! I love him. I will. Let's do that.
while he was telling his anecdote, I did take a sip, and I must say, it is a surprise.
Oh, is it?
No, it is a surprise.
Wow, it is a surprise.
Yes, it is quite
It
good.
is.
Yeah.
Would you like some?
No, I think we're fine.
No, they're not quite happy with the syrup and sugar.
The colors are not too far from each other. So please guys, don't.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
okay.
good
okay.
point.
It's all right. Yeah, you're a friend anyway. Over the break, we had a bit of discussion around the table, and I think one of the key issues that came up that perhaps we do need to clarify is what's the difference between subsistence, informal, and SME? And do all SMEs stand at the corner and sell tomatoes or airtime?
No, I think we can make the distinction. So the first one is formal and informal, because it's very possible for you to employ 1,000 people and be informal. Let's make it.
I think the
clear.
drug cartels employ thousands of people. And,
So the distinction is really formal and informal is
No more wine for you.
you're formally registered.
Yeah.
So formally registered,
Pay tax.
pay tax, and within the banking system. Those are usually, that's the criteria that is used between formal and informal. Then there's subsistence informal, which is your one-man band sort of thing. And I think a lot of our informal sector, that's what we identify,
One man band or a family.
or a family, which is purely subsistence. And then SME is just really a question of numbers and turnover. So when you reach a certain turnover, you're just considered a micro enterprise. So there's a micro enterprise, and from micro enterprise you get into a SME, and then from SME you get into medium, and then medium large. That's purely a function of your turnover.
So basically, you've got a guy who's selling airtime, and he's
So that's subsistence.
$2 or $3 turnover a day.
Yeah,
That's subsistence and informal.
and informal.
And then you've got a guy who's registered, pays tax, but employs only 10 people, and maybe his annual turnover.
Or he's a consultant. He's just one person.
Yeah,
He's a consultant. He's still one person, but we consider that formal.
but he's an SME.
But SMEs dependent on your turnover.
Yes. So let's say his turnover is relatively low, but he's one guy, but he pays his tax.
Yes, then you're qualified as an SME.
No.
How about a guy who is formally employed, but they're running a side hustle that may be registered or not registered? And given like the culture that we have.
I think that's a very important question because I realize we've used the word guy, but we're not actually classifying the guy, we're classifying the business.
Yes, the business.
So,
It's informality.
so that is employed or not, that the shareholder is employed or unemployed is not actually relevant.
The shareholder becomes an investor.
But do you know why it is relevant? It's what I've seen with a number of informal businesses. So you might actually have a business that you are perpetually funding or capitalizing on a monthly basis. For example, you are running a grocery shop or maybe a bar somewhere in the township, right?
You
So
would,
the
you
stock-
would, you would never do that.
Of course, I'm not, maybe I'll be selling home books or something. Or some
good luck with that.
church uniforms or that kind of stuff. But because you have got this perpetual income that is coming through from your formal work, that whenever the person that's maybe one of your workers, they need something, you're actually using your paycheck, part of your paycheck to cover for this business. So it becomes actually businesses that are sustained by your income. You see, and there are quite a number of such businesses that people run, obviously, as a side hustle.
But,
Yeah.
but those businesses could still be informal or informal.
Yeah.
So it could be formal because it's registered for everything and it pays tax, or it could be informal because you're operating out of the back of your pocket, your back pocket.
So what about the formal, registered, but doesn't pay tax? Because you've got the
Those are just
PBCs.
criminals.
No. No, but
No. But how do you get away without paying tax if
No,
you're
but
formal registered?
there's that registration of a PBC, they say, public business,
Yes,
blah, blah,
private
blah.
limited corporation.
Yeah, and you don't pay tax until you operate at, and you still remain below that.
No, so you are paying tax. You just don't
It's called
qualify.
withholding tax.
You just don't qualify. So you're formal.
Okay.
You just have to make the threshold. Okay, so I think we've clarified that. But you guys are so dour and so serious.
Yes, well, it's a black
Dinner.
tie dinner. Whose idea was it
Whose idea was
for
it?
this to be black
Was
tie?
it-
Green? Oh, it was Tinashe?
What does it even mean?
Always blame the guy who's actually wearing a black tie. No, it actually wasn't my idea. And you know what?
What's the
Purposely,
meaning of a black tie? Do we actually know?
Actually, speaking of that, because you asked an important question during the break about must we wear our jackets for the whole meal? And the rule is, I don't know what is the rule? Do you know the rule?
I don't know.
The rule is you keep your jacket on until the host removes his or invites you to remove yours.
Oh wow.
Okay. I don't think the host knew about this.
No way, guys. No one is removing the
Guns are blazing for you.
But while we're in Ranga's house today, and I am sitting at the end of the table, so gentlemen, you may remove.
Okay.
Is it?
All right. I'm not going to wait.
Sorry, somebody was asking a question, but anyway, never mind. I lost my question. So, as we look forward, so we are a little bit undecided on whether 2022 was a good year or a bad year for the economy. But as we move forward into 2023, our own personal thoughts and advice on what viewers and households should be doing as they look forward. I mean, and obviously this is colored by your view of what 2023 will look like.
Well, let's hear from the guy who thinks the sky is falling.
I'm the anchor.
yeah.
Even though it is Christmas, I'm still the anchor.
And that does not compel us to take you seriously.
Ranga, would you like to go first?
I would say I'm not expecting any major improvements in the economic situation. If anything, things could actually deteriorate faster as we get into the election year. So obviously it means people have to be more thrifty. They need to be focusing on important things, survival for the families, being able to send children to school, being able to provide for the family the basics. And also, I think there's another issue that we're always debating about, which is issue to do with the pensions and what happens when we retire. And we all know that I think around this table, maybe one possibly have got a pension, but most of us we don't have pensions. So I think our list is still waiting.
No, I think you're looking at me. I don't know. I change jobs every 2 minutes.
Yes. So it means we actually need to create some sort of asset base for the rain day, and it's a difficult thing to do in Zim where you know that you actually you don't have enough after covering your basics, but you still have to think about your retirement because at some point you have to retire and you don't have a pension to look to. And look, I think even for the common guy that Tinashe says represents here,
I don't represent.
He identifies us.
yeah, yes,
My sympathies are the ordinary.
exactly.
I don't represent them at all.
Okay, the ordinary men that Tinashe
We thought you were launching a manifesto.
sympathizes with. I think it also makes sense for them to, in the rural home, like the tradition that our grandfathers and forefathers used to have, like keeping some goats or mombes and whatever, anything that could return some value for you.
Not gold coins?
No way. No. Especially after what you saw the crypto and everything, that some of those things you can't trust them, especially as the coins are being minted by who.
I think
Are you
Tinashe
sure
would,
there's no alcohol in this thing?
I think Tinashe would prefer Bitcoin to
To be
gold coins.
honest, I did not read anything on it. So
Because our apologists in
I
chief,
think the next
chief
break,
here is
the next
has
break,
lost
I
his
need
way.
to take a
So
look.
yeah, so I think people have to be more defensive actually. also take some other, those extra households to make some money. So farming, or keeping some chickens, or whatever you can do to augment your income. I think it will go a long way because 2020 could be something else.
Maybe?
So I'll agree a little bit with Ranga, but I still look at us as leaving the whole COVID year where things were all stunted, and we have come into 2022 and 2023. For me, if I look at household level, I see growth. That is, if we were not working for the past 2 years, we were digging into our incomes, our savings, and we can easily get back on that and start saving again. And look, our growth is not going to be as big as it was before the 2 years of COVID, but I still feel like, for me, that growth, when we actually took a slump during the COVID era, there's going to be that growth. And it's up to us as households what we decide, in terms of the direction we want to take. Elections are coming, yes, but they've come for so many years before this. And what's really going to change? It's not really about the outcome. Elections have come, elections have gone, and I would ignore that and keep moving and grow your income at household level. And I think for me, it's more, people have to learn to be selfish now. And priority one, look at your family and do everything at that level and grow.
I'll go next, so I don't always go last. I tend to agree with you, Nelly. At our ages, we've been working for 3 or 4 election cycles, maybe 5, and we've seen this movie. Every 5 years, everything stops, everything slows down, we do nothing for a year, and then we start again. I think because of that, we should just carry on, Place your bets, put your best foot forward, and be aggressive. Because besides the fact that really we know how the movie ends, the second thing is, one of my mentors in my professional career always used to say, when there's blood on the street, buy property. So when everybody else is being defensive, go aggressive. You're going to pick up some good assets, you're going to pick up some good opportunities. You might not have enough money to actually buy a big asset like a house or a car or a business or whatever.
How is a car a big asset?
No, for some people it is.
For most people, for most Melbournes, it is.
But in whatever you do, right? If you're keeping 25 chickens and you have the sense that everybody's going to scale down, maybe this is the year you go to 35.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the year you go to 40 chickens. Because you know what? There will still be people in Zimbabwe and they will still be hungry. And they'll buy your chickens.
Okay, so I think to contextualize, we have to give different stratas, because your question was to Zimbabweans and not to me specifically. So I'll put it in different stratas, and the first strata I would look at is the 49% that have no means of livelihood, live in arid places like Binga, where they cannot get any food whatsoever. And those people, it's going to be a terrible year. And my advice to them is they should jump the border. That's my advice. If they have the opportunity.
Really? Are you sure that they'll this thing?
If they have the opportunity,
Really?
because,
Going away. There's an authority in South Africa, and pretty much
This is not alcoholic.
every country is actually inward looking.
I think you're quite right, Ranga, but remember, these are people with no livelihoods whatsoever. They do not even have somebody who's in the diaspora who can sustain them. They were sustained by NGOs, but I think next year the Minister of Finance has highlighted that they're only expecting a third of NGO funds, Western support, Western aid that used to come. We used to receive close to 800 million. We're only expecting maybe 300 million, right? So these people, and this will affect the 49% who live under extreme poverty. And I'm saying for them, remember they can't even grow their own food. They can't rely on government. What they would just have to do is, I think facing xenophobia is a far better evil than death in Zim. So that's the first strata. Then the second strata would be people who are, what we term kuchigrisa, the informal sector, the one-man band, and they make do, is subsistence lifestyle. They can sustain themselves. What I would say is it's going to be a terrible year, and they shouldn't be adventurous. They shouldn't be too adventurous.
So the opposite of what I'm saying.
Yes, I think for that strata, what you're saying is for the third strata, which is your high income guys who can get a bit of leverage, who can borrow, or who've got a bit of savings, then they should do what you're saying. So I think that's the top strata. This economy lends itself to people who already have money. It does not lend itself to people who don't have money or people who are on subsistence lifestyle. So when you look at real estate, I totally agree with you. If you've got a bit of money, just stretch it out there. There's blood on the floor. Go on the stock market.
Not in real estate.
No,
just generally
in the economy.
In the economy, like this is a good time to actually,
Take positions.
it's opportunistic. It's opportunistic. It's a good time to take positions. But that's, I would say, 5% of our economy. The great majority, I would say, just jump the border. That's my quick advice. Then the other,
Like,
May I take a sip of my wine?
the other
you
on
shouted me
subsistence,
afterwards.
those who are on subsistence lifestyle should realize that them making it out throughout the year, if they can survive, they would have done very well. We need to highlight that. If you're in some sort of business and you can survive the entire year, you would have done well. So don't be too adventurous. You don't have the savings to ride the wave. But if you're in the top 2%, look at the stock market. I think there's a good opportunity. Real estate, it's a good opportunity. So I would agree with you as far as just the top 5% is concerned.
Rufan?
So the way I look at it, I think there's a dichotomy between the formal Zim dollar economy and the informal US dollar economy. And I think that the formal Zim dollar economy, it's highly regulated, it's subject to the whims and caprices of government that is constantly chopping and changing policy. So it's very difficult to invest, to plan, to just run a business successfully in that space, because one day you've got X set of rules, tomorrow you have Y set of rules, the next day you have Z set of rules. And that's a frustrating, difficult space to operate in. And what I think is happening is that the informal US dollar economy, to the extent that you're coloring inside the lines and you're not coming up on the radar, you can actually plan your life. You can actually decide that there's demand for this product at this US dollar price, and I can invest in growing my production or my capacity to service that market. You can actually borrow in hard currency to some extent to expand your business. That's where the opportunities are, and that's where I see daylight. I think it's going to be increasingly difficult and frustrating to operate in the formal Zim dollar environment, and I think that most of the opportunities in 2023 are going to be in the US dollar universe. So to the extent that anybody at any level has a choice in terms of how much they exert themselves relative, in the formal versus the US dollar sector, I think it makes sense to exert yourself more in the US dollar sector.
So you're saying chase dollars.
Chase dollars.
So if I can try and summarize. And it seems there's no consensus. Rather be defensive. But think about your pension.
So he's opposite to Obama.
Not quite. I think they're different, but not opposite. But what I'm hearing, you're saying be defensive, but think retirement. I'm saying,
Defensive is all cash. Obama is saying be adventurous.
but chase yourself.
Yeah.
Can I summarize?
Well, you're doing
Is
a
that
very
okay?
bad job of it.
It's okay. I haven't got to Rufaro yet.
Alright.
I'm saying it's going to be the year of opportunity. Fortune favors the bold. Libby, I think you're saying something similar.
Just be selfish and go for it.
Just be selfish and go for it. Can you find nicer words than selfish?
Yeah, but it's in the Oxford English Dictionary, so
Okay.
it's acceptable.
Okay. So actually, you say it depends on where you are, but for the vast majority,
It's like immigrant.
yeah, there's nothing
No,
for you
he
here.
didn't say emigrate.
He
He
said-
said jump the border.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Rufaro's finding better English.
No,
But
no,
you- but
he
you
said
say-
jump the border.
No, there's a reason why I say jump over, but she's quite right.
But you're saying there's
People
nothing.
don't have papers.
You're saying there's
Yeah,
nothing.
so jump the border.
Okay.
Jump the border.
Children. You're saying for the vast majority of people, there's nothing in this country for you in page 20. But if you've got access, then there's blood on the streets and buy property.
That's
Figurative.
That's a. So I would summarize it this way.
Starter.
It's the different stratas. So the first one that no one here has captured is the extreme. Those who live under extreme poverty.
Especially those in Mbinga.
Oh my Pharaoh.
Binga. Binga.
Oh, not Mbire this time.
Binga.
You say jump the border.
Was
Jump the
weird
border.
one time.
And then defensive, I would say the next strata
Strata.
would be very defensive. I would agree with Ranga that be very defensive. And then the 5%, that's when I would agree with you guys.
So basically,
That's
Tinashe wants our
opportunistic.
population to have.
Well, I don't think he wants it, but he
Opportunistic.
thinks that's what those guys have to do. And you're saying, look, wherever you are on the ladder, chase dollars. If you chase dollars, you're going to be fine.
And what happens if you're not earning it at all, and you have no means of earning it?
What happens if that's true for you anywhere in the world?
You jump the border.
Okay, this is a good time for us to take a break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. And we're back. The gentlemen have taken the jackets off, except Tinashe. You're just trying to show us off, eh? Show us up.
No, not even. But it's just, I feel better this way. So,
You look smart.
thank you very
It's
much.
really smart.
Is your shirt okay at the back?
Yeah, it is. It's a proper dress shirt, by the way.
Okay. Anyway, Chef B,
Hi.
what do we have in front of us?
Okay, so in front of you, for those who are on the banting diet, we've got cauliflower rice as a starter. As the starch, and then for the non-banting, we've got rice. Then we've also got stuffed chicken breast. It's got a little bit of cheese, red pepper, yellow pepper, and then you've got your vegetables to accompany that, and the sauce to go with that. It's usually up quite spicy.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Please do
So
enjoy.
my sauce all over the chicken.
It's up to you.
Fantastic.
So do enjoy.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I don't know why I'm forced to bunt, but let's try it out.
You should participate in the group.
Tinashe, you and me are in the same bracket. But
You should read messages.
so yeah, I should read
George
messages sober.
tends to be a tyrant.
He is.
No, we're not tyrants. You guys just don't
I
respect
say
messages.
George tends to be a tyrant.
Well,
And that's the message I got from the chef. Anyway.
I had to make it very clear to the chef that no, I don't do
But
that kind of
how did you get rice?
Yeah, I spoke to the chef.
When you are in
I'm
his
not
house.
branding. I want my starch. So yeah, I had to do that.
But you know, as we look forward to 2023, and we look back at 2022, what are our personal resolutions? And what's informing them? I'll kick off, because you guys are so busy stuffing your faces. 2022 for me was a difficult year for me health-wise, but also it was a year that opened me up to the opportunities that this country has and what can be done. So for me, 2023 is a year to live healthier, so that means spending less time with this guy.
Oh, how is that?
What do I have to do with your health?
When have we ever hung out and done anything healthy? Okay, we run.
We run
besides
a
running.
lot.
Besides running. And what do we do after we run? Anyway,
We brainstorm, we discuss ideas and philosophy and
over 10 or 12 years. But yeah, so I'm gonna try and do something about my health. But also, I think finance-wise, I'm gonna be on the front foot. I'm gonna take chances. And I'm taking your advice. Retirement is not far.
I'm
And
taking advice from Ranga.
okay, of all the people on this table, the one person who you probably can take advice from is Ranga. So good guy. Yeah, do that the next day. Rufar, would you like to next?
Well, I actually don't believe in New Year resolutions. I think that the project of making yourself a better person is not subject to the calendar. It's an ongoing project. It's something that you should introspect and reflect on an ongoing basis. And this idea that because it's 1 January, you get to put together a list and this will somehow change your year and your life. I think that's a fallacy. I think that you should have a lifestyle where on an ongoing basis you're applying your mind to how you can make your life better and how you can become a better version of you. So this idea of resolutions going into 2023 to me is it's a misnomer. It's a red herring.
Have you never had resolutions?
I used to,
And then what happened?
and then I read a very good book on the subject. It's called Willpower. I think it's the author is a psychologist. His name is Baumeister. I hope I'm not butchering it. And he basically, in very technical psychological terms, explained why it's a very bad idea to actually, at the beginning of a new year, write a list of things. Because your capacity to focus on more than one thing, one aspect of changing your life at a time, is actually quite limited. So the idea that you can sit down and you can list 20 things that you want to change and apply your willpower to equally, it's a mission that's going to fail horribly. Anyway, so the psychologists believe that you can only change one aspect of your life at a time.
This particular psychologist.
Yes.
So no resolutions from that.
No, you don't let him get away with that. So what's the one thing that you're changing right now? Never mind the time of the year.
Thank you, Sasha. I didn't really want to expose my friends, but you've done it for me, and I'm grateful.
Why does he think that's exposing you?
Answer the question.
Also, right now, I'm reading a lot of Tom Sowell, and it's a fountain of erudition and wisdom. I've gone through 3 of his books.
The
so
question
far.
was not what are you reading. The question was what are you changing.
Yeah, but my erudition is changing, isn't it? Or do you not think that erudition is changing?
It only becomes change when you actually do something about it.
Well, that's a rabbit hole. We can have a conversation about it.
Okay, I think Austin answered. Tinashe.
I'm the opposite of Varro in terms of philosophy around this. I actually take it more seriously, but where we will agree is I don't take the 1st of January seriously because I think that's the Gregorian calendar, which was arbitrary to use Varro. So I'm not particularly interested in the 1st of January, but I do participate in the festivities of the New Year. My New Year is more Jewish, so Rosh Hashanah, which is more
I didn't know this about you.
September, October. And I take the idea, the
That's
notion-
also the traditional Shona New Year.
Yes, exactly. It is. It's actually coming from the same
Lunar calendar.
lunar calendar. And I take the view of nature, which is nature comes in seasons. So you need to read the seasons. Rather than swim against the tide, swim with the tide. So I actually enjoy having dinner with you guys because what we're trying to do is to read into the season. What season are we in? This last year was particularly good for me, I think in my personal sense. I thoroughly enjoyed 2022. I think that we're still in the same season. It's going to be a harder season. And again, the idea of seasons comes from the Joseph story, the biblical Joseph story, that you have 7 years.
Are you about to
plenty,
pontificate?
7 years of plenty and 7 years of
Heaven.
famine. So the idea is, which season are we in? And I think as a country, we're still in famine. And having said that, my relevance is just like Joseph, is to the common man in Zimbabwe.
It's very humble.
Just
like Joseph.
Indeed. I think it's
What?
from a biblical perspective.
You want to hear what I
And-
want to say about that?
And that's why, so for example,
So
Friday
this
drinks.
is a guy who's having chicken cordon bleu
No,
and
absolutely.
sparkling wine.
As
Fake
Joseph would
sparkling
have. And I'm sure Joseph in the king's court was probably having the best of food. But the idea is to just prepare the country. So I look at our advocacy as Friday Drinks or on Twitter. I look at it more from that perspective. That is advocacy around what we want for our society. It's in the same realm as what Joseph will do. And I think it will run its course. I think there will come a time when that will end. And I think I would want to do more of that. That's the season that we're in. The other thing that I would like to do in my personal endeavors, and this is where I actually agree with Faro, which is really more. So I would like to extend my library. I think I have one of the best libraries in Zim, and I would love to extend it more. I'd love to lose weight.
More humility.
To your point, George, and I think it's the season. We're at that age where we need to.
We'll wait sticks.
And
Thinking
you
about
also
it.
realize at that age, weight is stubborn.
No, absolutely. So that's why it takes a resolution and determination to do so.
Should start running.
I'm not a runner. I go to the gym. I do the manly stuff.
Wow! And what does Rufaro do then?
Pray tell.
Rufaro, what do you do?
I do the womanly stuff.
Oh my God!
Okay, this is great. This is great stuff.
Yeah, but not for the reasons, not necessarily for health reasons. For me, it's just clothes fit better if you've lost weight. Like I say, if you look at what's happening with medical and health science, a lot of the difficulties around diabetes or high blood pressure can be solved by popping a pill every day.
Red?
So
White.
to me, it's not necessarily health, but I think that clothes fit better when you're slimmer. And it's also a boost in testosterone.
Okay,
And I quite
we're
enjoy
moving
testosterone.
swiftly on.
Okay, well,
Um, 2022 was a rather mixed year for me, where we started off well, but the second half was quite difficult from a business standpoint. And I would say I learned so many lessons from there that for a long time I was more a bystander watching how others were managing the crisis at the level. And one thing that I learned is, we've got our brothers, people who started doing business before us, that we saw some of them almost near facing failure. And I think the first reaction would be like, Akairasa, or maybe there's something wrong with them. But I actually learned that the environment and the policy changes in Zim could actually be fairly threatening to business survival. So it's a big lesson that I've learned, but I've also learned that I think in as much as I spoke about being defensive, that maybe it pays to take more risk in Zim, especially. I believe that you are more like at the sweet spot in terms of HYs and positioning and exposure that you need to take an amount of risk that should propel you to the next level. As long as it's not going to wipe you out, and also because you've got some base to start from. So I think 2023, it's a year that I would like to get out of my shell and try to be.
have some wine?
No, I'm talking about business here.
Wine is business.
No,
For you.
yeah, yes, for her. And also maybe I've joined George here, trying my hand at farming. I'll try to do it as a business. That is the first time. I'm not that sure.
I'm going to be a shoulder to cry on when you guys lose money, when you have problems and pressure.
Yeah. And the reason behind that is to look for some other avenue that is not directly correlated to what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, but also to learn something new. And I hope I'll do that in a more profitable way without losing money.
Touch wood.
But yeah, plus I also want to prove this guy wrong. He thinks that everyone who goes into farming is surely going to lose money.
No, I don't think that everybody goes into farming is going to lose money. I just think that people who like to wear bow ties and have fancy dinners have no business doing farming.
So I would say you could actually, people are given to multitasking, and I don't see any reason why on a Wednesday evening like now we are wearing bow tie and having a nice dinner, but on Saturday I get myself dirty on the farm trying to feed the nation and make some money. So
I'm about to sell my first crop of potatoes. I will buy you a nice bottle of whiskey
I like that.
from the crop of potatoes.
Oh wow.
Yes. I'm drinking lots of Japanese whiskey these days because I'm a fan of Japan's
I'll
exploited
buy you a
water.
bottle of Japanese
Yeah.
whiskey.
So-
Well, they didn't do very well at the World Cup, but anyway, let me.
Oh, they had two major upsets. For me, that was a big deal.
But I think they're now watching the World Cup from Tokyo.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So yeah, I mean resolutions. I have always been in the past. I've always been stuck up on weight simply because I grew up as a chubby person, and weight has always been my drive all these years. So my New Year's resolution every year has been about weight, until eventually. So sorry to go the long way round, but you've got to hear this.
No, I actually love it. It's only
okay.
these guys.
It's
that
okay.
don't like
It's
it.
okay.
But
You've been inspired by
you're in good
Until
company.
I-
You're in good company.
Okay, so I got to a certain point where I lost the weight. A few years ago, I lost all that weight, and
That's when we met. When you were running.
Yes, when you did 2 oceans.
so when I ran and I lost all the weight, and nobody appreciated it. Everybody said to me, everybody looked at me and said,
What wonder?
you know what? You look better before. So that
Who are these
for
humans?
me, I know. So for starters, the whole weight thing, I then went back and I said, you know what? My mom always used to tell me, Libby, you're wasting your time. You've been a big baby all your life. I have no clue why you want to lose weight. When I did lose it, and people just looked at me and
Didn't
including
appreciate
my very own, and they were just like, maybe not. So I have dropped all of that. And my New Year's resolutions for 2023 are more like I've evolved. And the evolution really has been about, I had things I did before I had children. These things drove me. These things were my number ones. And as soon as
Could
I
you give an
started,
example?
so an example, I did Toastmasters, I danced salsa, I did tennis, all those things. And I stopped them when I had my first child. And kids later, I couldn't go back to them. And now with my youngest being about going into Form 4 next year, I have been thinking about this from...
What, did you have a baby when you were 12?
No, I didn't. George. So I've been thinking about it, and I've literally been thinking about it from the beginning of 2022. And I've actually gone onto social media and I've looked for pages where it's yoga. That used to drive me in my young ages. I loved yoga. It was me and my mind. I went on to hiking groups. That drove me. That was my Sunday done. So I went onto all these groups and I started following them from 3 months into 2022 right till the end. And I've said, you know what? My New Year's resolutions are going to be more of me being an evolved person. I want to go back to who I was then. I know people might think, oh yeah, but you're a mother, you've got children, but it doesn't change who I am. And those were the things that drove me, possibly to even have those children. And I want those things to drive me now because I think those were the biggest drivers in my life.
The fountain of youth.
Yeah, the fountain of youth. I mean, I don't want to be young in terms of age and whatnot. I love who I am right now, but I want to live with what I love. And that's what I want to do. So I'm going to go back into all that. So my
Cheers to
yoga,
that.
my tennis.
No, but,
Yeah,
but,
cheers
still,
to that,
no, but
cheers to that,
before we
cheers
raise
to that.
before
No.
we raise the blaster,
And we're not going to do cheers with you because that's syrup.
Doesn't matter. Why are you taking a moment away?
No, but I think it's a fantastic moment because I see a thread in at least what the 4 of us have said. And I've got a question for you guys.
There's 5 of us.
No, I mean, you said you don't believe in any of it. So, you can sit over there. Do you think this is what a midlife crisis looks like?
Well, okay. Ranga, when was the last time you wore a bow tie?
Okay. What's that going to do? What's that going to do?
You just asked about a midlife crisis.
Didn't you wear a bow tie?
No.
When was the last time you...
So,
but
the
seriously,
midlife crisis is
Yeah.
not necessarily a bad thing. It's for me, it sounds like an acknowledgement. It's where I am, it doesn't change who I am. So honestly speaking, I don't
do you know
want
what
to
a
say...
midlife crisis is? Because actually, that's exactly what you're going through. But then, for
No,
women,
I'm not
it's not
going
a.
through a midlife crisis.
No, for women, don't go through midlife crisis. We go through
I
menopause.
don't think that's going to age well.
I don't think it will.
Did I say I want to get more fans to myself? I mean, come on.
No, but
You know what? I feel attacked.
Okay.
I feel attacked
no,
at this table.
I'll defend you. No, but boys and girls, let's stay focused. I mean, a midlife crisis in the end is about coming face to face with mortality.
Yeah, mortality.
He's a brave man. He just said it out loud.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going down that rabbit hole. Stay focused. Is this?
But this
is
is
it-
about
is-
facts.
Is
right?
this about us? Is this about us or being at a certain age where we're coming face to face with mortality, where we are realizing that the runway is coming to an end at a subconscious level, and this wage is not going to solve itself, this pension is not going to make itself. Actually, I want to be happy.
Maybe I'm just comfortable at my age. I wasn't comfortable maybe 10 years ago to go back into it, and I'm very comfortable now.
Because you want to be happy.
I think it's a good question.
I think
I
what
just
Levin
wanna
is going
go
through is
back
different from
to
what we're going
to
what we're
what
going
I
through.
used to do, because those things drove me, you know,
And-
into
and
the
I
person
think-
I became, and you know, I'm just comfortable with that.
So, okay, I've got a different perspective. I think that, and there's a risk that this will be perceived to be elitist.
Fortunately, the show
Do you
is
wanna say
pre-recorded.
it?
Um,
Do you want to say it?
no, I'm
or
going
do
to say
you
it
wanna-
anyway. It's not anywhere as obnoxious as what Nadia said.
No, it wasn't obnoxious. It was
But-
the truth.
But I think that.
Let women be the judge of that.
But I think that. So
Facts are facts.
I think that it's this idea that erudition and wisdom come with age is a myth. You know, there are lots of people who actually grow old, minus erudition and wisdom. And I think that what's peculiar for this particular setting is that we have curious minds, we introspect and reflect honestly about where we are and what we want, our successes and failures. So I wouldn't describe it as a midlife crisis. I think it's just a function of that process given our experience. Because when we were in our 20s, we had no capacity to introspect and reflect on our lives the way we
Because
do
you're
today.
not in a midlife crisis.
No,
This is
because
not
we
a
were
midlife
young
crisis.
and
I stopped
No,
all
no,
these
you're
things
different.
because I decided to have children,
No,
and I didn't have the time.
and that's why I said women
And
go
now
through menopause.
I know.
you just said it again.
Oh my God! If I had
Okay.
a gun, I would shoot you.
The
I really
audience-
would.
I wish
In the middle.
I wish the audience could see Patrick cringing and desperately signaling for me to end this segment.
That.
No, that's the truth.
Right, no more.
Men
It's
go
not a
through
midlife
a midlife crisis.
crisis.
No, yours is not a midlife crisis.
You just said to me.
No,
it's
okay,
not.
okay. Okay, no more,
The
no,
guys
no,
are going through a midlife
no more,
crisis. They are.
no more wine, alcoholic or not, for you, Sinashe. And we need to give the chef a chance to clear the table and prepare for dessert. Today is going to be the first time I've had cheesecake in years.
Now apparently there's a cheese board.
No, there isn't.
There isn't? Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Ranga and the chef crossed their wires. But
Zesa wires.
yeah.
I'm not getting my so.
But anyway, can I wind up the segment?
Sure.
Sure.
You're not coming back next time. Yeah, so apparently it's going to be the first time, I don't know about you, but it's the first time I've had cheesecake in years as a banter.
Well, apparently it's a banting-friendly cheesecake. We had the conversation earlier, and she said that it's artificial sugar, and it's made not with flour, but with
almond flour, not with
almond
wheat flour.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so-
That's the midlife
So
crisis.
funny you talk. No. So funny you talk about this
Can we close the
cheesecake.
segment?
My son said to me, "Oh, so mom, is it baked or fridge?" And I'm like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently
there's
it's
two ways to
Yeah,
make a
because
cheesecake.
I'm not a dessert person.
There's two ways to make a cheesecake.
Yeah.
So we're going to find
So
out if it's baked
We will
or,
find out.
or fridge.
Yeah.
So give us a couple minutes to clear the table and we'll be right back. And we're back. And what are these pretty things you bring us?
Okay,
Chef
so
Lee.
to round off your meal, we've done a very simple, easy, no-bake cheesecake. Okay, so this one banting friendly yet again. So we've got layers
Tonga.
of.
Ranga, what happened?
How many people are Utonga?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
because it's
How
a
many?
title.
No. Just a question. How many people are Utonga?
Minority Ndoyo Tonga.
Oh my God. Asimnova ku.
Yes.
dictatorship.
We've
Okay,
got
so
Ranga here representing.
back to the dessert, we've got layers of almond flour that's toasted, a mix of mascarpone cheese, some double plain yogurt, and cream fraiche, and it's sweetened with honey.
Yum.
Sounds good.
I see some
What do I do with the
granadilla
lemon
here.
slice?
We put it on the side. That's just to make it garnish. Yeah, just garnish.
And there's some granadilla.
Yes, we've got a bit of granadilla pulp on top.
See, despite her best efforts, I'm still lucid.
Okay.
Thank you, Chef P.
Enjoy.
And what are we accompanying with?
So we've got two wines. We've got a dessert wine, the first one, which is a botrytized wine. And by botrytis, we mean that it's got noble rot. So it's a good rot.
It's sick.
So it's a fungal infection. So this is when you allow your grapes to actually get a fungal infection. But it's a good fungal infection. It ripens them more. It concentrates the sugars more. And you have residual sugar, which is the sugar left over in the actual grapes. This is not added extra sugars. So this is the sugar in the grapes. And you have it in the 3 digits. So this is anything from 100 to 199 grams of residual sugar per liter. So it will be sweet. And on top of that,
Is that being ironical? Because these guys are bunching.
Yeah, I was thinking about
it is being very ironical, but it is a dessert wine, and some of the greatest sweet wines of the world actually are botrytis wines or sweet wines. Actually, they're age-worthy. And talking about age-worthy, this is actually a 2011 vintage.
Wow.
So that is more than a decade old.
We have crew members that
And
are younger than us.
exactly. So, so I mean, it would really be lovely to find out if it's still balanced. And by balance, we mean the sugar, the acid, and everything within the wine. So I am looking forward to this. I have not had this before in terms of this vintage this year. So look at the color even. So yeah.
And you guys have switched?
Yeah, we
I don't know why we
Gone from boring to more boring.
I don't even know why we're having this
it was
discussion.
just, yeah, well, yeah, I don't know why you're having
My
it, but
goodness.
You switched to Coke Zero.
Coke Zero.
So you
There's a
really
lot of-
Smells like Tony.
Can we have one discussion?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
That was a lot of sugar. So I don't know what you.
Yeah,
So I think 2 glasses were enough. More than that, I think.
Oh, there's limits to how much syrup you can consume.
Surprise, surprise.
So funny you say that, George. Please allow me to say this. I went for a coffee cupping today, and that is like a coffee tasting.
I don't know why that just doesn't sound right.
No,
to me.
George, just listen. And you reminded me because I then spoke to a lady who said, you know how we talk about coffee and how you should never drink coffee going to bed and whatnot. And I said to her, when I finish my day, I have a coffee before I go to bed. And she's like, you know what? I grew up. This is a lady who's like probably what, 70, 80 years old? And she said, we grew up and part of our life was starting off with coffee and ending the day off with coffee. And I'm like, no, but coffee, but it's like rubbish. There's nothing like that. And I'm thinking the same thing about sugar.
This is
It's
just
all
you
in
trying
the
to
head.
you're just trying to convince yourself.
No, it's in the head.
Okay. Well, anyway.
What
It's
smells like a
What-
really
what-
good
what do you
ruby
think?
port.
yeah, it was
So
quite
it's
sweet.
really
So I'm
more
just
Can
resorting
you
to
guys
some
let
water.
or fix
this
or
I'll
can you let
have
the
a
sober
glass
guys
of
talk?
water.
Rufaro.
Sorry, Ranga, please start again.
No, I'm saying I have to resort to some water.
It was a bit sweeter.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. But yeah, now I need to switch to some water just to
Oh, you're not going to speak to the age or the flavors.
Of Coke Zero. Well,
Or you know what Elon Musk said about Coke Zero?
well, please, please. I don't know what he said, but do I want to know?
For
He drinks Diet Coke.
yeah, this is the best.
Apparently. Coke Zero.
Apparently.
Anyway, shall we tuck into our dessert? But while we're doing that,
The wine, the balance. Oh my gosh. Please taste it.
we have to do this.
That's good.
Excuse me.
It's
Like,
amazing.
It's,
It's,
now I'm
it's
on your side.
amazing.
It does smell awesome though.
No, it does. It does.
It
Everything
smells
is
like a phenomenal
It's actually got
ruby port.
all the nuttiness, the honeyness.
The Coke Zero. My
It's
gosh.
still
The
in
balance.
sync. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Everything is in sync about it.
Anyway,
I'm sure you have these thoughts every time you dine at KFC.
boys and girls,
I must say it smells like some coffee
What's
syrup.
KFC? What's KFC?
can we please stay focused? As we tuck into our cheesecake, which spoon are we supposed to
I
use?
think the small one.
I don't have a small one. And
Also, you can use the big one. You've got a big mouth.
but
so.
Are you?
You
Are you
and
going
Tinashe
are you
can
going away
use
for
the big
Christmas?
spoons.
No. I tend not to go away for Christmas, and we tend to have a lot of diasporans coming in. So we do a lot of hosting around Christmas, and then we go away after the silly season is over.
Have you made your plans for post-season?
So that January.
Silly season?
Yeah, in January.
Where are you going?
To be disclosed. And I think still private and confidential at this point. But,
Ranga?
Tinomboenda kuchipinge tombonono zvakamira sei. Tombonombera wakuru.
Manje nduke zvakafa.
Sure, there's always a replacement here for these guys. Yeah, but I usually do that like a week or so before Christmas. I prefer to celebrate my Christmas here if you are not traveling. So I go to Musha a week before just to see something.
We've got a part of our extended family coming in from the diaspora. And we will be having Christmas at my parents' house. You've attended a few. It's a long-standing tradition. On Christmas Day, everybody converges at the parents' house. And we make too much food and generally behave irresponsibly. Our mother cannot stop us from drinking too much because we're drinking with our father.
And how much do you drink?
My doctor's watching. So we'll be doing a bit of that. Looking forward to seeing my nephews and nieces. But also, quite a few weddings in the Christmas week this year. So we're attending a couple of weddings in the run up to Christmas. And then I think the rest of the season will be rather quiet. Maybe?
So for me, it's usually, I love being away Christmas because naturally in my family, I'm a woman, I'm the host. So I'm doing the hosting and I would prefer the break at Christmas. But this year we're at home and I have not extended any invites. I will not be extending any invites.
We'll pop in.
What if they come
It's just-
unannounced? It's in our tradition.
Then
People can just come.
I'll keep you in the lounge. Everything will be happening at the back. I'll keep you in the lounge, offer you a wine, and then you leave. But yeah, so it's pretty much going to be a Christmas with me, the boys, their father, and something low key, quiet. And I make more money when I work on Christmas Day, so I'll probably do some work. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. So I'll probably do some work. It's worth it. Yeah.
Well, I actually was hoping to travel, but there's a bunch of things I want to get done. So I am likely to crash at George's Christmas Day functions, as I've done many, many times in the past.
I think my mother, every once in a while, she is getting on a bit. I think every Christmas she wonders, so So how many sons do I have again? There's this other one.
She counts and then oh, there's that other one.
Yeah, but before I sign off, because I guess
Yes, we need to open that other bottle.
the audience won't get to see us partaking of that.
Oh, we have to open it.
We have to open it.
Because it's got a story.
Okay, can you tell the story?
Only because
It's
my glass is
for-
empty.
Okay, so maybe because your glass is full and mine's full, so maybe Farah can taste it and you can tell the story.
Yes,
So it's a fortified wine. So
I can't
it's-
open it.
Okay,
You
yeah,
can,
you're weak,
George.
I'm strong. It's okay.
So this is the sort of wine.
I set
It's
myself up.
higher in
Yes, you do.
alcohol.
Fail.
So you're looking at anything from 17% alcohol
It's actually
to about 23%. And you'll find that when it's actually produced, they will add brandy to stop fermentation. And that is how you get the higher alcohol in it. You'll find that worldwide it's called port. Port is a designated name. It can only be called port in Portugal. So if you make it anywhere else in the country, you've got to find a name that qualifies before the port.
All right.
So in
So
Zim, we
in
call
South
it
Africa, it's going to be Cape,
Port.
Port or Cape, whatever. And in Zimbabwe, it's going to be, I think we had what? Mukuyu Port, we had Mukuyu Port, the other one, I've forgotten what the other one is. So, but it is a fortified wine. Tawny Port, the youngest probably in this bottle is about 35 years. And they did find it by mistake. Grapes grown, produced, made in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
And unfortunately, I cannot tell you who exactly because it's something under the radar. But we're lucky to have this bottle, and I hope we enjoy it.
I hope
And
we can open it. Rufaro can't
well,
open it.
you Rufaro, come on, do the thing.
Well,
And-
look, I think we'll have to sign off. But we'll certainly taste
You
it.
know the idea of anti-clockwise?
Yeah, look, I wasn't going to say that.
No, it's actually turning.
Yeah,
Both
in the wrong direction.
Both
Can you hold the
directions.
bottle? Hold the bottle.
That's a sign that
No, the other way,
someone-
the other way.
The other way.
one glass too many, eh?
Oh, there you
It's not
go.
moving.
Okay, no. So we've got to sign off. It's been lovely having you along. I hope that you've enjoyed being a part of this.
He's
Rufaro,
opened
can't be
it.
shut up. Okay, so you're going to try it.
Can I smell your glass? Oh,
It's delightful.
heaven.
Ah, absolutely sublime.
Christmas. Hallelujah.
It's been lovely having you along. I hope that you've
Oh, yeah.
enjoyed being a part of our Christmas dinner. We've certainly enjoyed it. And I think it's been nice to have a more chilled reflection on it. I know maybe some of you may be a bit frustrated that it's not the usual flavor of Friday drinks, but we just thought it would be nice to show you another side of us. And when we're not drinking and arguing, this is
Do you want to say
pretty much what we're doing, which is eating, drinking, and arguing.
And arguing.
Enjoy your holidays. Stay safe. Be good. If you can't be good at it.
Oh yeah,
Cheers.
this is sublime. So good. Oh my god.